put the policies and the procedures in place that in fact do what you want it to do. In the last 3 years, we've spent a lot of money getting this stuff in place. For example, the perimeter monitoring system that we've got, which was taken from the Department of the Navy. These systems monitor the perimeter, and if a rule is violated, in other words, if somebody drives up to a gate and then drives through and then they don't wait for the gate to close, the system is smart enough to recognize that that was a violation. It flags it, an alert is generated, and we investigate it. And I'm sure none of our visitors today have violated any of those regs, but some of our GA community have, and they get phone calls almost immediately thereafter. Because we sit there and we watch and we go, oh, okay, Fred just drove through. We call him on his cell phone and said we can't do that. And on occasion, someone will say, oh, well, that wasn't me, that was Joe, I loaned him my badge. And you go, okay, well, then both of you are restricted because you're not allowed to do that kind of thing. So we monitor this continually. And we have an agreement with the Department of the Navy. They come out about 3 times a year. They upgrade our software, they upgrade our hardware, so we always have the latest technology. Beyond that, we've got a perimeter fence that meets your specification. This last summer, we put in the final piece of fence that goes around our side of the airport. The turnstiles that we have on our side are the exact same turnstiles that you use, plus it has the access control system that ties in to the rest of our security. Any airport tenant that is going to come on the airport has to get trained in security. It's an annual requirement. They get trained, we track it, and when that training expires, they're notified or their badge gets turned off. As far as the security is concerned, anything that's built on our side of the airport, it's mandatory that it has our security system built in. And so when Millionaire built their new facility, they had to subcontract us to put our security in their building. So if a GA pilot, if a transient guy comes here and comes into and goes into their facility from the flight line, they can get into the building free. But if they turn around to come back out, they can't get back out unless a local person vouches for them and swipes the door, so the opening door will open and they get out. So all across our perimeter, we have complete security. Access control, that's what I'm talking about. We control all of the gates. We control it down to the individual. We control it by groups of people. We can give them access to one or many gates. And so it's a complete state-of-the-art system. Anybody that gets control, that gets a badge, they go through a TSA background check for everybody, and if anybody needs access into our airline area, which is we have it more secure, they get an FBI background check. And then of course, anyone who's going to drive on the inside of the fence, they've got to go through a complete driver's training program and testing to get that badge. And then finally, everybody has to go through testing. They can do their testing online. Those scores are electronically transmitted to our operations department, and those scores are checked that they passed the test before they get a badge. And then finally, as you said a minute ago, the GA pilots on our side are not newbies. These are guys that have been around a long time, guys and ladies that have been around a long time. They have a vested interest in our security and in your security. It includes law enforcement people, former military pilots, and as we grow, I think it'll include active duty pilots who want to get some flying. All of that is what it takes to get out here. How do they go about getting in the place? Well, the first thing is we've identified the boundary of the hangar driveways with this double solid yellow line, which happens to be an exaggeration of the boundary of the aircraft movement area. And so the guys in your tower, as they're looking out, this is pretty clearly identifiable, and they can see that if anybody crosses that line, then they are beyond the boundaries of what they can do. In other words, if a vehicle, if it drives across the line, then it is a clearly identifiable and unauthorized vehicle. If it's inside the yellow line, it is an authorized vehicle, but it couldn't get there if it hadn't gone through all of our procedures. The yellow line, in and of itself, we consider that to be an additional level of procedural security. Obviously, it's not going to stop anyone there, but it's there to make the process clearly identifiable. To get into that area, a person has to go, again, through 2 levels of security. First, to get through the first gate, you have to go with your badge through the entry control point. Once you've gone through that entry control point, then there is yet another gate. This is not your standard vehicle gate, but it is an arm bar. They can't get through this gate. We put that in there so we can be responsive to changes in your force protection conditions. In developing all these procedures, we worked with your side and came to the conclusion that Alpha and Bravo positions or conditions do not require any change to what we're doing on our side, generally speaking. But at Charlie and Delta, if specifically required by you, and we need to tighten down the vehicle access into the hangar driveways, we can do that electronically, instantly. And then if we need to, we can go out there and put physical barriers, concrete barriers, something like that in place that is going to be for an extended period of time. And so all those procedures are in place today, and they're enforced. If we find somebody who is not supposed to, be driving around out here, then they lose their access to the first gate. We also have, just so you know, we've got 3 hangars up on the northwest side of the airport, and those same procedures are in place for those. So what it boils down to is we've put these procedures in place to match what we believe are your procedures. We've put it into the joint use agreement, and it's our intention where if we have to improve it, we will. If you find a hole, we'll fix it. Our goal is to continue to improve our infrastructure, continue to work with your PMO, find anything anything you need addressed, we'll address it. But from our perspective at this point, we feel like that we have solved your POV issue by limiting that access. We feel like we've done that to meet your F-35 requirement. Now, we hope that you still agree. That's been our goal from the start. Building on this for 4 years, and we put a lot of money into it. And we think we've got it. We think that this will meet your requirement. If it doesn't, please let us know. If you can find the hole, we'll fix it. Yes, sir.
Where the double yellow line is, did we still look at the sensors or cameras or something?
To tell you the truth, not today. The guys from Panama City, the Navy guys, I thought they were going to be up here a couple weeks ago. That's been delayed. But once they come up here, they got to do the programming to identify that as a barrier. So we still have a camera on it, but in fact well, I'm not.
What are they going to do when they do?
Oh, well, it's going to generate an alarm downstairs for ops. They'll see it, and well, for one thing, on a purely practical level, the first guy to see it is going to be a guy in the tower. He's going to see that. But for example, today there was a good example of the coordination that goes on between us. One of my maintenance people was driving outside the fence, saw a civilian vehicle driving inside the fence, and I'm talking about over on the southwest side of the airport where it's coming up to Avenue A on that perimeter road. My guy was outside the fence and saw what appeared to be a civilian vehicle driving inside the fence towards our area. He called into our operations. our operation is called your PMO, because it was still on your property. A little bit of coordination was done.